Hello and welcome to Pumptec's tutorial on the 112T pump rebuild. In this video, we'll be focusing just on the pump, not on the motor, not on the cam, and we'll be taking apart the pump, replacing the insides, and putting it back together. We will be using kits A and B. In kit A, we have a plunger guide, a seal ring, and a 117 O-ring. We also have grease, but it's not pictured. In kit B, we have valves, white washers, and 116 O-rings. I would recommend having a towel, a small screwdriver, and a 3/16 hex wrench nearby. Okay, so let's take apart our pump. I like to lay my pump on the manifold so the heads are facing me. I will take my 3/16 hex wrench, taking those bolts and washers off of the heads and placing them nearby. Now that we have those bolts off, we can flip our pump back onto our heads and take off that manifold. With the manifold, there should be 4 clear washers or white washers, and we can set those aside. We will be using kit B to replace those. With those white washers, we can also take off the valves, the 116 O-rings, and the 4 other white washers that are under those valves that are still on the heads. We'll put those to the side, and we'll be using kit B to replace all of those parts. Right now, we will take the heads off of the plunger. They should just slide off. There may be a little bit of pressure. Might need that towel on standby to get any grease or water off of your hands. With the heads off of the plunger, we can now remove the retainer plate. This should just slide off with your finger, as well as the 3 internal pieces inside that seal bore: the plunger guide, the seal ring, and the O-ring. Now we will grab kit A and replace the insides of the head. We will first take the grease and get a little bit on your fingers, just a little bit, and rub it around that O-ring. It should be the 117 O-ring, and we will put that O-ring inside the seal bore. Once we have the O-ring in there, we'll now get the seal ring and center it on that O-ring. Once the O-ring and seal ring are in there together, we will grab our plunger guide and orient it like so, and push it down until you hear almost a click. That means that the seal ring is within the O-ring and they're all sitting flush with that seal bore opening. With those 3 pieces sitting inside the seal bore of the pump head, we can now put the retaining plate to cover the 3 pieces so that it won't fall out. Repeat these steps for the other head, and now we were able to put our new plunger back onto each head. The orientation is important. We want the opening of the plunger to be facing away from us. We do want it centered because when we eventually put our pump back onto our cam and our motor, this is important that it's centered so it'll fit on there. Now that we have our pump heads connected with the plunger, we will need our manifolds. These clear washers will go into the pockets in the manifold, 1, 2, 3, 4. And it might be helpful to have a little bit of water to get these to stick when we flip over the manifold. We can put those clear white washers into the valve pockets of the heads. There should be 4 of them. The white washers will be followed by valves, and these valves need to be oriented with the X's closest to that sticker if it is on your pump still. These X's are the outlets, and the O's will be across from each other on the bottom, and these are the inlets. Your water goes in the O's and out the X's. The 116 O-ring from kit B will now go on each of these valves, and they should nestle up into that pocket of the head. We'll now flip over the manifold onto the pump heads, and we'll position it. We'll kind of jiggle it around, maybe flip it over, move the pump heads back and forth so that there's a tight fit between the heads and the manifold. Now that we have our heads and our manifolds together, we want to lay the pump on the manifolds so we can put those bolts back on the pump. We will need the metal washers as well. Now that we have our pump all back together, let's double check that our valve's in the right spot. If you see that sticker, that port nearest it should be the outlet. If you look inside the pump, you may be able to see if you have an X facing you. If you do, you have done this correctly. This has been the tutorial on the 112T pump rebuild. Thank you for watching. If you have any other questions, please refer to our other videos, our website, or give us a call. Thank you and have a great day.